Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I will discuss about different kinds of AR receipts and its accounting. So I got a request from a couple of subscribers asking me to create a video on different kind of AR receipts and its accounting impact, and hence this video. So for creating of a AR receipt, you should log into your AR responsibility. So in this example, I logged into accounts receivable superuser Reliance Cotton Extract INR. So Reliance Cotton Extract is my operating unit and under INR ledger. And in order to create your AR receipt, you need to navigate to receipts. And here you can see there is something called receipt type. So here the receipt type, there are two values on the drop down, standard and miscellaneous. So standard receipts are the receipts which are a trade receipt, that is the receipts which are created against the invoices issued to the customers. And miscellaneous receipts are the receipts which are created to record your miscellaneous income. Miscellaneous income could be bank interest received, dividend income received, or any other miscellaneous kind of income which you received and you want to record it in the system. So first we'll start with the miscellaneous receipts. So here you can see by default the receipt type is standard, and you can try to change it from standard to miscellaneous. As soon as you change the type from standard to miscellaneous, so a couple of these things changes here. So if I will toggle back to standard, so when you say standard, here you have transaction number, customer number, and other stuff. But if you change it to say miscellaneous, you don't have those details, because miscellaneous income is not an income received against an invoice. It's a miscellaneous income which we receive from different miscellaneous sources. So to start with, we'll start with the miscellaneous receipt. So if you are creating a miscellaneous receipt, select your receipt method, that is the bank account in which you want to deposit this income. So I have one receipt method which is created, Reliance ICICI Bank, and the receipt number, you can just put any receipt number. I just say test 123, and receipt is for say 15,000 INR. And there is something called receivable activity. So you need to specify receivable activity is mandatory if the receipt type is miscellaneous. So I'll show you the receivable activity screen in a while. So here I have a couple of receivable activities which are created. So I'm selecting receivable activity of miscellaneous income. And as soon as you select the receivable activity of miscellaneous income, click on distributions. So the account which is mentioned under your miscellaneous income receivable activity got defaulted, and that is what you can see here. And if you click on this drop down, you can see 4150, which is a miscellaneous revenue. So this is the account which I had specified in my receivable activity, and that got defaulted. If you want, you can change it, or you can leave the default account as is and click on OK. And now try to save this. Okay, looks like it's already saved. And now if you try to do a create accounting for this particular receipt, you will be able to see a journal entry wherein your bank account or your cash account gets debited, and the miscellaneous revenue account, whatever is mentioned here, gets credited. So the cash account or bank account is actually coming from the receipt method. I'll also show you that receipt method screen. And the account which gets credited is actually coming from this miscellaneous income receivable activity. Now click on tools, create accounting. So you can go for any of these draft, final, or final accounting posting. So I'll just go for draft. Click on OK. Accounting has been successfully created for this transaction. Now click on tools, view accounting. So here you can see the rows for the Reliance INR ledger and Reliance INR subledger level secondary ledger. So we'll just focus our accounting entries. It will be same accounting entries both under the primary ledger and second ledger. We'll just focus on only the primary ledger. So as far as the primary ledger is concerned, you can see here cash account got debited, and miscellaneous cash account, which is nothing but your miscellaneous revenue account, got credited. So cash account is debited 15,000 rupees, and miscellaneous revenue, that is the GL account which is mentioned under receivable account, got credited. Now I'll show you the receivable activity. Copy this, Close this. Go to setup, receipts, receivable activity. Here you can create your receivable activity. So I'll just query for my receivable activity. So here you have mentioned, this is what is mentioned, miscellaneous revenue account. So whatever is mentioned here gets defaulted there. So for a different kind of uh, miscellaneous income, you can create different receivable activities. That is like one receivable activity for bank interest, different receivable activity for sale of say scrap, or different receivable activity for say some other miscellaneous revenue. Or you can just create just one receivable activity by name say miscellaneous income, and then just specify one GL account. And when you are creating your miscellaneous receipt, change the GL account to the appropriate the national account which should get a hit. Okay, so that's how you create your miscellaneous receipt. Now coming back to the standard receipts, receipts, receipts. So the receipt type should be by default standard. Again, even for the standard receipt, specify the receipt method, which is your Reliance ICICI Bank. Receipt number, I'll just say test 500, something like that. Receipt amount, say 3,000 rupees. Okay, and now try to save this. I just want to show you different accounting entries at different phases. So here you can see something called unidentified, applied, on account, unapplied, and there are a couple of different things. So now at the first stage, I entered the receipt method, receipt date, GL date, receipt number, and amount, and save this. So at this stage, we have not identified this particular receipt is against which customer or which transaction number, and hence you can see 3000 is lying under your unidentified. Now, if I do create accounting at this stage, now let's see what will be the accounting entries. So at this stage, the accounting entry will be your cash account will be debited and your unidentified receipt account will get credited. Again, unidentified receipt, unapplied account, your cash account, everything is actually coming from the receipt method. What the accounts, whatever is being mentioned under your receipt method. So before I continue further on this, let me just open up the receipt method. Let me just copy this receipt number. This is the just 500. This is the receipt method. Setup receipts, receipts classes. So under receipt classes, select my receipt method. This is my receipt class Reliance manual raw no remittance. That's the name which I had given. And here you have got something called creation method, remittance method, and clearance method. So as far as the creation method is concerned, there are different manual or automatic bills receivable or bills of exchange or your APAR netting. So in this case, as you are creating a manual receipt, the creation method should be manual. And as far as the remittance method is concerned, you can use the remittance. If you are using a remittance, then you need to select the remittance method as a standard. And if you are using a factoring, then you need to go for factoring or standard and factoring. So in my current example, I'm not using the remittance, and hence my remittance method is no remittance. And clearance method is basically if you are using your cash management automatic bank reconciliation, then you need to go for by matching or by automatic clearing. So I'm not using clearing in my example, and hence clearance method I had mentioned it as directly. If you use remittance method as a standard and your clearance method as maybe matching or automatic clearing, then your accounting entries will be slightly different when you are creating your receipts. So under this particular receipt class, this is the receipt method, and this is what is being selected when you are creating your receipts. And click on bank accounts and specify your bank account. So these are just a name. I had given the name as Reliance ICICI Bank, and under this I'm selecting my bank name, bank branch name, and bank account name, which I had created in your cash management module. And these are the accounts. So this is my cash account, and this is my unapplied receipt, unidentified receipts, on account receipt. And these are the account code combination which will be used by the system when you are creating your receipts. So if you are using your receipt class with remittance method as no remittance, then system will use this particular cash account. But if you are using the remittance method as a standard, then system will use this receipt confirmation account, and this gets enabled when you are actually change your remittance method from no remittance to standard, and then you can enter that particular account code combination. Okay, so now going back to our receipts, query for the receipt. Okay, so now let me check the accounting entry. I think we did not check the accounting entry. This is the old one. Okay, tools, create account. I think I had already created accounting. Yeah, so tools, view accounting. So here you can see cash account is debited and your unidentified cash account, which is nothing but your unidentified receipt account, which is mentioned in your receipt class or receipt method, is credited. Now try to assign a customer. So as soon as you enter your customer name, the balance is moved from unidentified to unapplied. Now try to save this. And at this stage, let us try to create an accounting entry. Now check the accounting entry. Now unidentified balance is moved to unapplied. So unidentified receipt account should be debited and unapplied receipt account should be credited. I think I already created. Okay. Tools, view accounting. So we'll just concentrate only on the primary ledger. So this one, okay, let me just put it in an Excel. Again, show in Excel at the end once all the accounting entries are generated. So here this was the original entry, cash account got debited and your unidentified cash got credited. And now once we have moved it from unidentified cash to unapplied cash, that is like as soon as you have entered your customer name, it has moved to unapplied cash. Then here you can see unapplied cash got credited and unidentified cash got debited. So unidentified cash got nullified here, and now the balance has moved from unidentified cash to unapplied cash. Now try to enter a transaction number. So try to apply this particular receipt against this particular transaction number and save this. Now try to do create accounting. Now the balance will move from your unapplied to applied. So that means your balance now will move from unapplied receipt to the actual receivable account. So receivable account is being derived from the invoice of the invoice, whatever is being selected. In this example, it is being picked up from the invoice number 10183. Tools, view accounting. So here you can see unapplied cash got debited and your receivable got credited. Now let me export this to Excel. Okay. Now our focus should be on primary ledger. So let me sort this by ledger and get rid of this secondary ledger. Okay. Now focus on the primary ledger. So our first journal entry is your cash account got debited and your receivable, unidentified cash got credited. And then this unidentified cash got debited and then unapplied cash got credited. And then this unidentified cash got credited, debited and your receivables got credited. So the net impact is, if you look at the accounting entry, this is the net impact. Unidentified cash debited and credited. Sorry, unidentified cash got credited and debited. Unapplied cash got debited and credited. So the net impact is your cash account debit, your receivable account. So this is how accounting entries are generated when you create your AR receipt. Now I'll show you a slightly different scenario wherein I do not perform the accounting entry at each stage. So maybe there could be a scenario wherein a user has just created a a receipt on the same day he has entered your customer details and entered your transaction details without running your create accounting. He has completed everything in a single day. And now let's see how the accounting interest looks like in the same screen. I'll just create one more receipt, test 501 for say 1500 rupees. Click on apply, select an invoice, apply this, save. So I save this particular transaction at end, and at the end I am running a create accounting. Now check the accounting entry. So the accounting entry is pretty straightforward accounting entry, which your cash account debit, your receivable account credit. So that is this accounting entry. So if you try to create a receipt without you try to create a receipt and on the same day you enter your customer details and transaction number, and at the end you run your create accounting, then system will not get into this unidentified and unapplied accounting entry. Straight away it's going to debit your cash account and credit your receivable account. And now we'll look into the last scenario wherein try to create one more receipt, test 502 for say 1800 rupees. So in this case, instead of selecting a invoice, I try to select on account. Save this. So that means I'm keeping this particular money on account against this particular customer, and I'm not assigning or I'm not applying that particular receipt against any invoice. And now check the accounting entry. Tools, view accounting. Okay. Here you can see the general entries, cash account debited and on account cash got credited, as I have not applied it against any other invoice. Now what I'll do is click on apply, unselect this and apply it against any invoice. Maybe this invoice. Save this. So I'm trying to move it from on account to on account and applying it against a invoice. Now let's see the accounting entry. Run create accounting. Tools, view accounting. Again, focus only on the primary ledger. So let me export this to Excel, or yeah, export this to Excel. I think I need to close the existing spreadsheet. So get rid of the secondary ledger, primary ledger. So the first accounting entry is your cash account debit, your on account cash credit. And then once you have applied this against an invoice, your on account cash got debited and your receivable got credited. So the net impact is cash account debit, receivable account credit. On account cash got debited and credited, and it nullified against each other. Okay, so that's how you create a different kinds of receipts, and this is the accounting impact. Thanks for watching my video. For interesting videos on Oracle Financials, please do subscribe to my channel and do not forget to click on the bell button to get the notifications on my latest videos. Thank you.